Welcome to my talk today. My name is Dihan So, and I'll be talking about living and studying in Malaysia. So I'll start by introducing myself. So my name is Dihan So, but you can call me Ash. I'm a third year mechanical engineering student studying at University of Technology, Petronas. It is in Malaysia, and in my current university, I am serving as the Secretary General at the Association of International Students, UTP. And also I'm working as a planning intern at open4.co. So before I talk about Malaysia, I'll be talking about my living experience. I have lived in a few foreign countries like India and China for more than three years in each. And I have also traveled to a lot of foreign places like including Canada. And even in Myanmar, I have lived in so many different towns. Not so many different towns, but then different towns, of course, like Yangon, Mandalay, and also some small towns like Malai at the Anya region. So let's jump to where I'm studying right now. I'm studying at the University of Technology, Petronas. It is located in the Peninsula, Malaysia. The university is actually owned by the Petronas, which is one of the Fortune 500 companies. It is a national oil and gas company of Malaysia. The university is currently the number one first private university in Malaysia, and their campus is considered as the most beautiful campus in East Asia. They offer mainly the engineering and business courses. Engineering courses varies from so many different specific majors such as like geophysics or applied chemistry, applied physics, and geology to petroleum engineering, etc. So let's talk about the Malaysia in general. So Malaysia, it becomes an education hub in the Southeast Asia because the government has been investing too much money in their education sector. Before that, in Southeast Asia, when we talk about the education destination, usually Singapore pops up on your mind. But then Malaysia education industry is also developing very fast. And I believe in a few years, it might be on the same level, or it might even be exceeding the current educational level of like Singapore, because in Malaysia they have their own brands at universities. Because when I think about Singapore, they have their famous universities such as like there's a Singapore National University or the NTU and maybe the SIM, something like. But then in Malaysia, they have their own brands, such as University of Malaya, which is also it is in the top 50 universities worldwide. And in this year, I listed a few universities, a few Malaysian universities, and all of them are within the top 500 university world ranking in the QS. And we also have some international universities branches in Malaysia, such as Monash, Curtin, they're from Australia, and the University of Nottingham from UK. So why will we study in Malaysia? The main reason will be the no language barrier. I mean, there is still some language barrier as a Myanmar student to study in Malaysia, but then I believe when one decided to study abroad, I believe they have already have a certain specific proficiency in English. So apart from that, you don't need to learn any other language. For example, if you are going to study in Korea, you might have to invest like maybe like 6 months, 8 months to study Korean, basic Korean. But then in Malaysia, you don't really need to study any other language. And don't worry, and Malaysians use broken English, so they're not going to be laughing at our broken English either. So, and then the cultural diversity. So to talk about this, let's talk about the Malaysian culture. I will say that it is not much different from Myanmar. Like we have similar food, we have similar dresses, we have kind of similar mindset. So there's actually not that much culture shock when I came here. But then again, Malaysia is also a very diverse community. diverse community with so many local ethnic groups, as well as Malaysia became a hub for all other so many foreign nationalities. Like, for example, if you go to travel to Kuala Lumpur, you will see so many people from the Central Asia, so many people from France, so many people from UK's, and also you will also find a lot of uh, people from different Asian countries. So I will say that it has a very diverse ethnicity and culture. At the same time, you don't really feel that much cultural shock. So I will say that is a really good point. And the living expenses are extremely cheap in Malaysia. Even if you live in, even if you study in Kuala Lumpur, the living expenses are, I will say, like half price cheaper than studying in Singapore. And if you choose a university like where I'm studying right now, it is extremely cheap. Like for one semester, I might just have to pay something like 150 USD. So that is really cheap. Uh, yes, because the and the living expenses, I will say I spend less money in Malaysia right now than when I was studying in Mandalay. So it's really cheap. The food are really cheap, and okay, let's talk about the requirements to join Malaysia universities. So usually when you go to when you're going to study in US or UK, I think it's kind of complicated that because they don't really want to accept a Myanmar matriculation system. At the same time, it's also costly to study like A levels or even O levels in Myanmar. But in Malaysia, the good thing is mostly all their universities have their own foundation program, and you can easily get accepted into their foundation program for 1 year. And after that, you can be enrolled in their undergraduate program. And when I came to Malaysia, I also studied from foundation year. And yeah, and the distance is Malaysia is really close to Myanmar. It's really good because you not at our current situation, but during the normal time, the even the return ticket from Malaysia to Myanmar only cost around like 100 USD if you buy early.
It's really cheap.
Yeah, it's really cheap. And the job opportunities is also pretty good because I know a lot of my seniors who graduated from my university are working in Malaysia right now. So compared to like Singapore, where there is very populated and it's like it's really kind of hard to get a job in Singapore, but in Malaysia, you can easily get a job. I also want to talk about their curriculum system. If you're choosing a university, it's better to choose a university that is practicing the trimester system. For example, in my university right now, the system is a trimester system, which means you have really less pressure on you. For example, right now, in like sometimes I have like 3 hours of class time a day. Sometimes it's 5 hours of class time a day. So the maximum is 5 hours. Sometimes it's just like 2 hours, 3 hours. So I will say I don't really need to spend much time attending lectures. I can use most of my time doing my own stuff, watching Netflix or anything else. And the climate in Malaysia has a tropical weather, and the tropical weather is like it's like throughout the whole year there is rain, and if it is not raining, it's quite hot. The temperature is around 21 to 32 degrees Celsius. So when you're planning to study in Malaysia, planning to travel to Malaysia, you make sure you pack up the light clothes and also the umbrella. The food in Malaysia is also very famous because it has very diverse styles of cooking. Like we have Indian, Chinese, Malay, Arabic, and like also Western food is quite popular here. So when you go around Malaysia, you will find restaurants of different cultures and different like nationalities. And on the left side, what you're seeing right now is called nasi lemak. It's the most famous breakfast in Malaysia. The right one is dim sum, but it is also quite familiar with Myanmar people. So festivals and holiday in Malaysia, since it is a country with diverse ethnicity and culture, they celebrate so many festivals. And accordingly, we have so many holidays in Malaysia. Like I will say their holidays in Malaysia is like twice as much as most of the countries in Southeast Asia. Let's say if Myanmar, I don't really remember the exact days, but if Myanmar is having like 15 days of holidays in a year, Malaysia might have 30 days. And like Hari Raya is quite famous here. Is for the Muslims, is for the Eid festival, and Chinese New Year, and so on. So thank you for listening to my sharing. And if you have any questions, you can also email me. Yeah, but that's all.